All right, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning into another episode of TNBS. This is number 16, and we're going to be talking about Uncle Alex today. Uncle Alex, my uncle. You probably have already seen the trial going on, the sham kangaroo court going on in the defamation case of the Sandy Hook. I believe it's the Sandy Hook parents. A couple of them got together and they're suing him, trying to get his money. Tragedy that happened, obviously, but they're looking for a boogeyman and they're getting these things put into this person's ear. They're getting a lot of things put into their ear that Alex Jones, right there, he's the boogeyman, he's responsible, but obviously he wasn't. He didn't pull the trigger. He is a news outlet that talked about news and questioned the news. That's what reporters do. He never said no kids died or anything like that, but let's go ahead and jump into it. We're going to do this together. We're going to react live to this happened a little while ago, but live is in you and I here. So let's go ahead and get rocking and rolling here. It's more of a chill, laid back session. Just the window. Dun, 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 dun. Okay. All right. All right. Here we go. Let me find this. Let's see here. History. And the full one is right here. I got to find it back again. It has some technical difficulties. Just briefly. See here, guys. Just a moment. There's our guy right there.
Texas here, where Alex Jones is on a trial in the Sandy Hook Elementary School defamation trial where victims' parents sued Alex Jones after he would go on his radio show and other outlets calling
tragedy
the
that
Sandy
happened.
Hook attack a hoax and a staged event. Let's listen right here on Live Now from Fox.
Say that you don't know or you don't understand if those things are true. To answer out loud in words and not head shakes and the like. I think that's all my instructions.
Stand tall, Alex.
Sometimes I forget one thing, but I think those are all. Do you understand them?
I do.
All right. You may begin, Mr. Reno.
Alex, would you please introduce yourself to the ladies and gentlemen? I'm Alex Jones.
This breaks my heart, man.
I actually feel good because I get a chance to, for the first time, say what's really going on instead of the corporate media and high-powered law firms manipulating what I actually did. I want to start by kind of letting the jury know a little bit about your youth and where you grew up so they can get to know you better. Is that okay? Okay. And before we do that, I just do want to say this on record because I've said it many times. I apologize to both.
Sustained. So, Mr. Jones, one of the instructions I just gave you is that this is not a conversation. Question and answer.
Wow.
The monologue about me. I got it.
And so you have to only answer questions that are asked of you.
And guys, my ticks are going to be really bad this session because this actually really aggravates me because I have very much respect for Uncle Jones and
Jones, have you been
this ain't cool, man.
Apologize to the plaintiffs in this case for a long time? Yes. And what would you like to say to them? That I never intentionally tried to hurt you. I never even said your name until this case came to court. I didn't even really know who you were until a couple of years ago when all this started up. The internet had a lot of questions. I had questions. And over that 6-7 year period before I got sued, or 6-year period, it's clear you can see the whole progression of us, the few times we covered it, trying to actually find out what happened. And that's really been my big frustration, is that the people have said that I'm personally trying to hurt them or coming after them when I question every big event. And a lot of times it turns out that we've not been told the truth. And a perfect example is today where they play a 30 or 1 minute clip. And I had just done that this morning. And I knew that I said, I believe that Scarlett Lewis is real and she's a really nice person and she's really a sweet person. And then I went through and talked about her ex-husband too. And then I said, I believe they're being fed and manipulated. And this is a perfect,
Sustained,
this is a perfect.
sustained. When you hear sustained, you have to stop
Okay.
talking.
Do you feel that the video clip was a fair representation of what you meant to convey?
No, it had the front and back. No,
Okay, and why wasn't it fair?
because it had the front and back cut off of it to totally misrepresent the apology at the end and at the first where I said, I believe she's a real person and lost her child. So someone edited that and then showed it to her, and then they brought it in here and played it to show it to you. And I think you should ask to see the full segment.
All right. So now that we've got that out of the way, I want to ask you some questions about where you grew up and how you came to have your business. Can you let us know where are you from in Texas originally?
I first was born in Dallas, then I grew up in a suburb of Dallas called Rockwall.
And how old were you when you
Sorry, guys.
16.
And can you tell the members
Sending
of
out
the
some
jury
tweets.
why your family relocated from us?
My dad sold his dental practice, and there was too much crime in Dallas, and Austin was a safer city.
Were you still in high school when you moved here?
Yes,
And did you graduate from high school
yes,
here in Austin?
yes.
And did you go to college?
No, I mean, I went a few years of community college.
Are you married?
Yes,
How many children do you have?
I have 4.
Can you tell us their names and their ages?
I've got, I need to say their names. Well,
You don't have to. You know,
well, there's
their
the,
ages.
sure, there's Rex, who's 19, Charlotte, who's 18, Georgia, who's 14, and Veronica, who's 5.
And is your wife present in the courtroom today?
Oh, we got a comment here from Keith Martin. I appreciate it. Be sure to hit that like and sub. My thing is, he says, my thing is, I'm sure there's some other video out there around the same time making the same remarks, only had 2 or 3 views, probably. So if that's the case, you'll have to sue them all. Paraphrasing there, but yes, you're exactly right. I mean, they're saying that if you're a reporter and you take something as delicate as kids being killed, which nobody on this face of this earth says that that's not a delicate situation or tragic. My heart breaks for those families that had to deal with that and still dealing with that. But there's a few factors here that we have to take into account. This happened in 2012, I believe it is. That was 10 years ago. There's still, Alex hasn't talked about this besides the trial. They're dragging this out so that people can say, oh, just leave those poor folks alone, Alex. When all in reality, Alex hasn't, he's moved on. He's moved on to Trump, to Biden, to Hillary, to inflation. It's just, you go back to what his coverage was, and they say it here in the trial. I've been watching his trial, or his show, where he talked about Sandy Hook was like 1/10 of what the coverage was, like compared to everything else. I forget the exact number, but it's just absolutely ridiculous that this is still going on 10 years later. Let these families grieve. See, what's happening here, in my opinion, is that these law firms, and most of them are Democratic funders, they fund the Democrats, or vice versa, whatever. Lawyers and law firms, these big law firms, go hand in hand with Democrats. And who's the number one target of Democrats? That man right there, or that man, whatever way. I don't know which way, but this guy you're seeing right now, and he's just talking about his background. We know all about that. Dad was a dentist and all that. That's my uncle. So it's interesting because how many people out there on CNN or MSNBC or even Fox would be sued if they got the same exact treatment that Alex is getting? I mean, honestly, I'm going to go as far as say that even if Alex said no kids died in Sandy Hook, this is a false flag and all the parents are lying. That to me is still protected under the First Amendment. Him saying that is not going to cause um financial burdenship or strains on them. It is a show. If you listen, if a show makes you that upset, then there's something really wrong with you. I understand their kids just died, and I have to be very careful with my wording here, but I think what they are doing here is putting batteries in the back of the parents of the victims and saying, "This man profited off of your kid's death. Get him." And then still grieving because this keeps going on and on and on. You know, they might get past this. You'll notice some of them do seem to have the ability to get past this. Like they're talking normal, they're not bawling, crying. They seem stable, and others don't. And for their selfish reasons, they want to prop these people up and say that man right there is the man that did it. Um, and it's just, I mean, it's just I don't even know what to say. It's just ridiculous. And the same goes for January 6th, is because, um, the whole January 6th thing is based off of nothing, just to try to um, get Trump to not run, and damage his reputation. It's funny because it always amazes me that Democrats do this, because Democrats are saying that um, Trump did this, Trump did that, and he did nothing. The facts are there. You can watch the trials; they're a sham. Then he didn't do anything wrong. They're trying to defame him, defamation of character, him, so he can't run and get off the ballots in all these states. And here's Alex Jones, who's just literally reporting the news and saying, "This is weird." So originally they reported two gunmen. That's strange. Then there's a clip on one of the mainstream media networks of one of the fathers going, "Oh, ooh, ooh," something like, "Ooh, ooh." Okay, we're live. Like, is that not weird? Are we not allowed to question things in America? I mean, it's ridiculous. If you said, "Hey, this is where these people stay. They're all liars. Their kids are alive. Go find out and go get them." Then yeah, that's bad. But if Alex says, "You know what? Look at all these things here. There's something weird going on here. There's a bunch of holes in this story. This is strange. Were they crisis actors? Did kids die? I mean, who knows? That's you don't that there's nothing wrong with that."
What year did you get syndicated?
I syndicated myself in 1998.
And at that time, did you already have the show name, The InfoWar?
Yes.
What
No,
was
no, it wasn't ever called InfoWars. It was just the Alex Jones Show. Because you have to call the show your name, because that's how they do it with the ratings that were written in on little diaries. So to be on radio, you had to say the name of the show coming in and out. It was like TV for Nielsen ratings. So it was the Alex Jones Show.
Tell us about InfoWars. How did the name InfoWars come to be, and how did that business start?
Vic Freeland, who was an Air Force veteran, who worked in Air Force intelligence in Vietnam. He was the
You
general
guys want me
fire
to
chief in
fast forward
Austin.
this? We kind of
He
already
was a
know this
listener.
stuff.
He'd done some talk radio interviews. He'd been on some syndicated shows because magazine articles he'd written. And he came to some of the events and he said, "Listen, you're really involved in an information war. That's that, and because all information is propaganda, whether it's true or not, it's called information war. And so you ought to try to get that URL." And he had a big old laptop. He said, "Look, it's available. Do you want Infowars.com?" And so Vic Freeland got the site.
Do you
He
want
then even in his spare
Infowars.com?
time, he was still working with the fire department then. He built the basic site and stuff, then helped find me a volunteer or whatever at first. We didn't really have any money to then start updating the site a little bit every day. And that was in 1997. So InfoWars came from an Air Force intelligence term.
So at the Alex Jones show that was being broadcast, and you also had InfoWars at the same time.
Yes, I had a radio show. At the time, I was doing a local radio show. And then I was doing the syndicated one out of my house. And then I had a website that I could post articles on.
All right, guys, I'm going to fast forward this a bit.
Ask you
And for those who don't know,
directly
this guy here with the mouse over talking,
InfoWars
that is
after
Alex's lawyer.
where Sandy Hook occurs. Okay?
Yes.
About how many employees did you have circa 2012?
I'd say about 45, 50.
And where were you broadcasting?
What year?
2012.
Oh, I was broadcasting from offices, studio.
In terms of size, how does that compare to, for example, the New York Times in terms of how many employees?
So you can only answer the question if you have actual knowledge about how many.
And this judge is being a real tyrant. A real tyrant.
Member of the media, are you generally familiar with the different media organizations that are in the industry?
Yes.
And based on that knowledge of the industry, can you tell us size-wise how your organization compares to the New York Times?
You know, I sent a message to InfoWars to see if I can get
Yes.
Alex on my show.
Between 1/100th and 1/20th
Worth a shot, right?
the size of those different organizations, if you count for employees and bureaucracy and the number of offices and things they do.
So I want to ask you some questions about the different formats of the different shows that InfoWars broadcasts. Can you tell us what the sort of
I'm going to fast forward a bit.
how many hours per day was InfoWars broadcasting? Not just your show, but
We were making a lot of money to expand the operation, going back to about 2005 up to when Obama got in. And then being anti-war was not allowed anymore. For whatever reason, I wasn't anti-Obama, I was anti-war. So I continued with being anti-war. And we lost all our sponsors. We lost, that was about 80% of the money we were making with sponsors. We lost about $10 million. It was gross money to fund the operation right away when we didn't toe the line with all the wars.
and so when you lost all that corporate sponsorship because of your position against the war, did you transition to a different business model?
Yes, we'd already been selling some books and films, but we accelerated it. And I said, well, I'm not going to let them shut me down. I said this on air. I said, you want to shut us down? We're $10 million a year. I remember saying, I'm going to go to $70 million a year. I'm going to put it into everything. We're going to advertise. We're going to explode. And so that was my promise, and I fulfilled it.
And why is it important for you to be self-funded?
That's what the system fears. It's actually come out in some of the presidential library documents.
This is literally like an episode of his show. I thought it was going to be more, you know, I thought it was going to be the defendants. I mean, excuse me, the other attorney questioning him, cross-examining him.
And then society doesn't ever change for the better. Instead, we need independent grassroots media that is self-funded, whether it be through donations or whether it be through product sales, so that we can have diversity of ideas.
Heath Martin, he really doesn't matter, Democrat or Republican, it's good versus evil now. You're exactly right, man.
As well as fake. What do you mean when you say synthetic?
You know, these are a lot of military terms that I learned just by researching psychological warfare, because I knew that they were using it against us. So I went and last 20 years got some of the classified ones. But a synthetic event is real stuff happening, but they put in place people to help it happen and kind of provocateur to get it started. So if you have two pit bulls killing each other, that's a real event. But people that throw them in that pen together for that fight, they made it happen.
This is a bunch of
They
nonsense.
brought the dogs there. They raised the dogs. They all sorts of crap you can buy at a gas station out there. That's not what ours is. I mean, we buy our PQQ stuff. So that's why everybody thought it was really suspicious up front was because those telltale signs that we've seen before of those type of synthetic connections, which don't always mean it was staged, but that's the
They
type of things
hate that
people
he's
look for.
self-funded, and they
Especially
hate that he sells
you've got different
supplements,
types of
man.
false flags. You've got
One of the first days,
synthetic
he was
is in
literally
the way to
saying, they were asking him like, "Oh, this is not an info war; it's an infomercial." Like, bro, like, what difference does that make? I mean, it makes no difference.
Of purposefully focusing people on a
You know, Alex on his show today said something very interesting to me, or not to me, but it's very interesting to me. So he said, "Ask the average person when you think of Sandy Hook, who do you think about? Adam Lanza or Alex Jones?" And most people say Alex Jones, which is in fucking sane. Insane. And that's exactly what they're doing. This is what this is all about.
but it's synthetic to try to deceive you. And I hope you get to see the real clip. And then you'll figure out everything else that's been going on.
let's go back to InfoWars and its business model. Do you sell vitamins?
Yes.
Are your vitamins FDA certified?
No, they're not.
Why not?
1996 law, the FDA has no jurisdiction over any nutraceuticals, not the ones at Whole Foods, not the ones at GNC, and not ours. And ours are private labeled top brands that are sold at Whole Foods and GNC. We have them made by the top lab recognized in the United States. All we do is put our label on it so we know it's triple tested, the highest quality. And that's why people love it, because it is the best out there. And I'll give it to Whole Foods and I'll give it to GNC and others. They've got the same stuff. There's all sorts of crap you can buy at a gas station out there. That's not what ours is. I mean, we buy our PQQ and CoQ10 from the Japanese. I mean, it's the best. It costs 5 times what synthetic PQQ and CoQ10 cost.
I can vouch for their supplements. I take them. They're great. I mean, that's just that's the way it is. They're great. I'm not taking any now. I was taking Brain Force. I need to order a new thing of vitamin mineral fusion because mine ran out. And also, just guys, remember this: if you're watching this and they say, because throughout the trial they're going to say you're worth $100 million, or you made last month you made $10 million. All that money goes back into the servers. I have my own server, and it costs me almost $300 a month. He has quadruple the amount of traffic I do, and just it takes a lot of money.
Yes.
So that's where that's going to, not to his 17 cars or something.
I'm barely sure.
Well, let me walk it up to you and you can tell us just generally what kind of document that is.
His attorney's pretty good from what I've seen. Seems like a real normal guy that's not elite.
Looks like some type of sales log.
And can you tell us what year it begins in?
Looks like September 2015.
And can you flip to the last page and tell us what year it ends?
I think this is going to end soon, but there's couple more clips I want to show you on my watch later list.
December 2018.
Just of the judge being terrible. He also
Yes.
Can you see the column that? You all right?
Yeah. Don't worry, it's not COVID. It's a torn larynx. Sorry.
There is a column that is labeled invoice.
Yes.
It's not COVID.
Gross sales.
It's so annoying you have to
I
say
believe
that
so.
now.
And let's flip to the last page and you can tell us what the gross sales number is.
165,230,000.
Beard is long, man. Good job, Alex. Hey, Alex, you need to come on my show, man.
Can you tell the members of the jury how how much of that represents profit
I mean, it's my uncle will probably
versus
do it.
just gross revenue?
The, it depends on what product it is. Some products make 20%, some products make 60%. Like on a book, you know,
Oh, Buck.
might be 20-30%. On food, it's that, and that's the basic type things.
Fucking love this guy,
On
man.
supplements, if they're on sale, you make 50% of it. If it's not on sale, you make more than that. Sometimes 100% markup, but usually it's on sale. So it really all depends. I can tell you bottom line numbers though, of how much money I've been paid, things like that, or how much money's there.
Before we discuss that, let's talk about InfoWars, the organization. Would you describe it as organized or chaotic?
It's a mix of both, but it is the opposite of corporate. And there's no corporate culture, and there's no people are very happy there overall. And it's
I would
very, very
love to
diverse,
work for InfoWars,
and
man.
people stay there a
Oh,
long time.
kidding
And
me?
but I would say the sales department and the shopping cart, that's in another building. It's not even there. And it's kind of like two groups that don't really talk to each other. So the disorganization is between people that do production and the people that do the sales in the warehouse and stuff. And we're trying to get that integrated. But
Maybe this is an easier way to go after it. Let's discuss, for example, email. How much email does InfoWars routinely get?
I know when we look to comply with the discovery, which we complied with, it was over 10 million that they had to search that was still in the inbox unopened. So it was 10 million unopened and a few 100,000 opened.
Well, it looks like he's not coming on my show. Never reading that email.
So about how much email would you say you get on a given day, just sent by random people?
I can't answer that because about 10 years ago, I got rid of my email address because it was getting 20,000 a day. And so that was one of the things they didn't believe there wasn't an Alex at InfoWars because, well, of course you got an email. I'm like, no, I don't. That's like, it doesn't exist because I can't read that. It's just, I can't read 20,000 emails.
How many employees would InfoWars have to have, in your view, if you were to actually read every message, every email, every tip that's sent in?
It would take 10, 15, 20 people. We go bankrupt, which we are now.
Hey, Swift, what's up, buddy?
Going back to
what vitamins does he sell? He sells a bunch of vitamins and good stuff, man. Like he does stuff for energy, for sleep, for your immune system. I mean, go to InfoWarsLife.com and check him out.
What does that?
Yeah, Keith, it's opinion radio. That's exactly what I'm saying. Like, it's so stupid. They're trying somebody for reporting the news and questioning the news. Like, that's what reporters do.
Sit tight for a second. We're gonna take a break. I don't know.
Yeah, Swift, that vitamin mineral fusion is really good, and it tastes really damn good too.
And so I'll send someone back if you're gonna go or if you're gonna come back. Remember all of my instructions.
He's a tyrant, boy. You watch his trial and you see that. No gum or eating or lip smacking in my courtroom. Fucking ridiculous. I think that's it.
Company has filed for bankruptcy during all of this defamation damages trial.
Yeah, so sad, man.
So this is happening in Austin, Texas.
Hmm.
We're going to take just a quick commercial break. We have you covered if you are so inclined to be following alongside with us here about this trial there in Austin, Texas, having to do with Alex Jones, the Sandy Hook family, and so many others. I'm Andrew Kraft. We'll be back in 2 minutes.
Yeah, it doesn't look like they come back to it at all. Well, there was one more. Let's see. And also, the Law and Crime Network, you use his DUI picture. I mean, really? I thought you guys were better than that, but that's disappointing, man. See, look, it's his DUI picture. That's so just disgusting. Like, why do that? To show, oh, this guy's a criminal. Fucking stupid. And also, they did Owen Schroyer as well. Just a couple more clips I want to kind of look at. I'm not sure who he's hugging there. Oh, he's talking to one of the victims. Ooh, I don't know if they're. See, you can tell he just feels bad about this, but he can't. He can't.
That's not even a thought. That's not the way this goes.
What?
Why, you can't feed them fake videos anymore?
Joe.
That's what you're trying to shut my mouth. You'll never succeed. Okay. I think I'm autistic too, buddy.
Wow, that was a little spat there. Wow. So those were the family member. Wow. Let's see what he says. I believe your son died, and I apologize for everything I said, I guess he said. And then the lawyer said that he's slow because I don't know if you guys know, but on Alex's show today, before he came in, he said that the guy seems like he's on the spectrum. He's a little slow, but you got to watch the full segment because he doesn't say that in a way like, oh, the guy's a fucking retard. No, he's like, I spend a lot of time with this guy. He seems like a very genuine, good guy. And he was just explaining what it was like to be around him for this, week trial or whatever. He said, I was being honest on air. Wow, that was very aggressive. That's not even a thought. Wow. That's so bad. Sorry for the dogs barking, guys. Like I said, it's more of a laid back stream. Normally I'd run up and get him and quiet him down, but we're almost done here.
Proving that the abortion they performed was necessary for.
I got the monkeypox, y'all. Okay. There's one more where the guy said, "Oh, you got gum in your mouth." Let's see. Here we go, right here. Shit, did I hit the wrong one?
So I worry about
Fuck.
literally.
Sorry, guys. Okay, after this, we'll end the stream. I appreciate everybody coming out. Hit that like button, please, guys. We got 4 people in here live. Hit the like, man. Hit the like. Hit the like.
And we'd ask that the entire public.
Spit your gum out, Mr. Jones.
Look at that.
What is it? Because you're not allowed food or gum.
Listen to the way she talks to him. I understand having respect for the judge's chambers, right? She's leaned back in her chair like this. Like this. And she's like, spit your gum out, Mr. Jones. Well, what is it?
Of any kind in the courtroom.
I had my tooth pulled a week and a half ago, and I had some gauze in there earlier, and it's been causing me to have some pain.
So you're chewing on your gauze?
So you're chewing on your gauze? Yeah, that's what happens when you have a tooth pulled because it bleeds and it helps the swelling and pain to go down, dumbass.
Would you like me to show you?
No, I
Right here?
just want you to answer my question.
No, I was massaging the hole in my mouth with my tongue. I'll show you right here. Here.
I don't want to see
All right.
the.
Well, obviously you do want to see because you don't believe him that he's chewing on gauze, stupid fucking tyrant. See, this is so scary and upsetting to me because that lady is a person in power. She made a decision that Alex Jones and Infowars and Free Speech LLC or whatever is guilty before the trial even started. Yeah, you heard that right. At the beginning of one of these days, they said, "So we're here to." I think it was day one. We're here to not determine if he's guilty, or if Free Speech LLC is guilty, but how guilty they are and how much pay that is going to be given. I'm paraphrasing that, and it blows my freaking mind because that's not how the system works. You're innocent, guilty, and then you decide how much they're going to pay.
Inside of your
Oh
mouth.
no, there's no gum. Hole.
Sit down.
Sit down, like you're talking to a child. Sit down. I mean,
Do you want to play the rest of it to see if you'll? I mean, if we're gonna go on this path, it could go on all day.
I don't want to play it because defaming someone and continuing this whole saga and then saying I'm sorry is an optional completeness.
I agree with that.
no, I agree with that. You're gonna sit there and agree with one side over the other? That's not what judges are supposed to do. Judges are not supposed to do that. Come on, man. See, this is terrible, man. Oh, I guarantee you, if you go and you know what, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do some journalism right here. So I'm gonna look into that woman's past, and I guarantee she's probably funded by Soros or Democratic voter, or has commented on Alex in the past. I'm gonna get to the bottom of why she is so angry with him, and do a full report on realNSC.com and talk about it on the next show. I mean, golly, these people are just. Watch one more.
Proceedings, I'm gonna have to make that same motion.
And when Owen Schroyer was testifying, my brother, he was up there, being very respectful,
Go
and
ahead, put it on the record.
the other attorney was just being so argumentative with him, and the judge as well, man.
Okay, that's denied.
Oh, of course. Oh, yeah, that's denied.
I'd like to raise an objection right now.
Doesn't even hear him out.
Whatever you want.
Okay, that's denied.
Not moving from this trial. But I'm very concerned about a series of things that have just happened. And I want to make sure that everybody in the room is on the same page. Mr. Raynaud had told the jury that there was 29 minutes total of board videos. He played 51 minutes in a single video, so we know that's not true. He tried to tell the jury about Ms. Lewis's testimony about 3 billion page views that she had testified that it was 3 million individuals, which he explicitly said was not and could not be returned. And in fact, were people returned multiple times, attempted to mislead the witness into thinking that's what she was saying. He has routinely, every single day of this trial, broken rules that a first-year lawyer knows. He has routinely placed inadmissible material in front of the jury. It is from our perspective at this table that Mr. Raynaud is actively trying for a mistrial. And obviously, we don't want that to happen. We would hope that at this point we could have Mr. Raynaud instructed to please follow rules which we all know very well knows, and to not attempt to sabotage what has happened in the plans. Otherwise, I want this on the record and why I would bring it to you now, because we will be bringing additional motions for sanctions if this continued conduct.
All right. I am very upset that you have tried to imply to the jury that we know how many videos about Sandy Hook were released by your clients when we don't, because they refused to respond to discovery. So
Bullshit.
I do not want you to do that again. And I don't want you to argue with me about it.
Wow.
That is the rule of this case. That's it. They didn't respond. We don't know. So don't couch it in that language.
Your Honor.
I'm still talking.
Wow.
I'm not really being asked to do anything except tell you to follow the rules, which I feel like I've done many times already. We've had multiple conversations about how I know you know what the rules are, and you know what the rules are, but you've chosen not to follow them on occasion. And I'm asking you again, follow the rules. We are not going to take up sanctions in the middle of this trial. So if somebody wants to file a motion for sanctions, we'll take it up at the conclusion of the trial. If I believe actions in front of me rise to the level of contempt of court, I will deal with that when it happens. Had I been in the room the day there was altercation, we would be in that situation, but I was not.
Altercation.
Your Honor, the jury instructions that you just distributed said that the jury has to base its decision on the evidence adduced in the courtroom. Frankly, the number of videos, their length, this is evidence that is being adduced in the
Yes,
courtroom.
but
Oh,
what
I'm
you said
talking-
was not, we've shown the jury
She's the
29 minutes
worst.
where the word Sandy Hook appears or anything like that. It was they released in total 29 minutes. That is not true.
Okay, I can change the question.
So don't, well, I'm not going to tell you what question to ask, because that is definitely not my job, but I'm telling you what question not to ask.
This looks like some meth in that girl's
Anything
past.
else?
Woo!
Not too much.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Unreal, dude.
Oh, good. 'Cause I don't think I brought my.
Unreal. All right, guys. So that is it. And I appreciate you stopping by. Really appreciate you stopping by. Hey, let's get these last ones here. Damn, we went for 41 minutes. All right. Swift says judges are not supposed to get upset. That's called bias. Yeah, exactly, man. They are supposed to be a judge, not a participant. Yep, that's exactly right, man. Couldn't have said it better myself. The lawyers doesn't want him apologizing to him because the jury might lessen the money or the father might drop the case. He's scared of that, I'm sure. Yeah, exactly. If he shows his human side, then yeah, definitely. I hit the like button and I sent your information to everybody, Keith. Thank you so much, Keith. That means so much. Yeah, and then Keith says, "Yeah, I remember I was shocked he didn't get a chance to defend himself. What about innocent until proven guilty? Yeah, that's out the window. They don't do that anymore. They don't do that anymore. And then especially if you're a Democrat, like politician, like Hillary or all them, Biden or Hunter, all them guys. There is no, it's just innocent until innocent. Like there's nothing there's nothing that's going to happen to them. They could literally have a videotape of them breaking the law and then say, well, I didn't know it was the law, but okay, well, he didn't know, so let's go ahead and let him loose. And then you got a guy like Alex, my uncle, who's up there and saying, well, this is a weird story, I don't know about all this. Defamation. All right, guys. So I appreciate it. Smash the like button if you haven't already. Hit subscribe, hit the bell, or else you will not be notified for these impromptu live streams like this. Yeah, man. Go to realnsc.com. I am going to be diving into that judge's past and seeing what I can dig up on her, because there's got to be something. It seems like there is some meth usage in her past, man. I tell you what. So yeah, that's it, guys. Thank you. God bless, and stay safe. And yeah, peace out.